So, what's up people and welcome to the chapter 116 discussion of Kaiju 8号or Kaiju number 8. So chapter 116 came out a few days ago, and as always I will leave a link to this chapter that's currently being shown on the publisher's official website, Manga Plus, for free to the North American audience. So if you're interested, we'll go take a look at it before they pull this chapter back. Okay, so if you recall in chapter 115, Vice Commander Hoshina came in clutch to save Mina from the attack from the final boss monster of this arc. And during that time, Vice Commander Hoshina informed Commander Mina to go save Kafka while he continues to battle this monster. And Mina did so despite her worry that Vice Commander Hoshina was going to be in danger battling such a powerful monster. And this was because at the end of the chapter, Commander Narumi came to assist Commander Hoshina. I'm not sure if I should say assist, considering there is a strong animosity between these two characters. We find out in chapter 116 through a flashback that when Vice Commander Hoshina, or Hoshina back then, joined the JDF, Commander Narumi had bad memories of Hoshina's brother. And I'm not exactly sure what sort of bad memories he had, but it's interesting because considering the fact that Hoshina himself had bad memories of his brother, they may have gotten along quite well, but since Narumi didn't get to know Hoshina, all he could think of was the bad memories from his brother. But what he finds out through his powers of being able to read the powers of the people around him, Narumi finds out that Vice Commander Hoshina has a tremendous amount of latent power and realizes just how much potential this man has. And so later, we find out that Commander Narumi tried to recruit Hoshina to come to his unit, which for any JDF member would have been a tremendous opportunity to be able to join the most elite unit with what is considered the strongest commander. And yet Hoshina decided to decline that offer, and he said he already knew who he was going to follow, which of course turns out to be Mina. And of course this leaves an even worse feeling in Commander Narumi. And this gets amplified as Hoshina continues to break every record that Narumi had set. And so by this time, there is no love lost between these two. And you can see that when Hoshina looks at what is considered the strongest member of the JDF and says, "Don't get in my way because you'd slow me down," which really pisses off Narumi. So you get this competitive vibe from these two characters, which you often see in a lot of shonen mangas. Probably the most famous one is Sanji versus Zoro, but you also see that in Sasuke versus Naruto, and of course Vegeta versus Goku. And of course, despite all of this animosity that's happening between these two, from the rest of the community, they are cheering because the strongest JDF soldier has appeared. And whether the boss monster realizes this or not, for whatever reason, it immediately starts attacking Narumi. But of course, we are talking about the strongest soldier in the JDF, and he easily dodges the attack. And he tells Hoshina, "Don't get in my way or I am going to kill you along with the monster." But of course that doesn't prevent Hoshina from attacking himself. And it is during this battle through the people at headquarters that what we find out is that whenever a commander goes into their full power form, headquarters will tell all the other soldiers to immediately leave the area, because the killing intent and the amount of damage becomes so high that the soldiers may become victim to the attacks from the leader alongside the monster. And this is especially true for Commander Narumi, and so there is not a single JDF troop member who usually remains in the premises. And yet headquarters notices that Vice Commander Hoshina is holding his own and is easily able to dodge any of the attacks that Narumi has, and probably for the first time realizes that they have yet another soldier who has close combat skills equivalent to that of Commander Narumi. And in fact, monster number 10, which of course is the battle suit for Vice Commander Hoshina, notices that there is yet another soldier equivalent to the levels of Hoshina, and he starts immediately saying rather than the monster, he will want to fight Narumi. But at this time you realize just how much respect Hoshina has to Narumi, because he says, "Nah, of all the challengers that he would have the opportunity to fight, monsters or human, Commander Narumi is the one challenger that he would never want to fight." And with that, you see Hoshina and Narumi go in with some of their strongest attacks, but at that time you realize just how powerful a foe this boss monster is when it easily catches and blocks both attacks simultaneously. And so we already see that this is not going to be a good fight for either Hoshina or Narumi, and that they probably will need support from other soldiers. And it's at this time that the manga switches scenes back to Kafka, who is of course knocked out from his battle with this boss monster. And so we see his spirit floating in the darkness, and you could immediately see that Kafka's spirit is wanting to go back. And it is at this time that we see a mysterious voice ask him, "Why do you want to go back? You know that it's going to be a life-threatening battle in the battlefield. Why do you want to go back, considering that you have already sustained such terrible injuries?" And at that point, Kafka answers, "Because my friends are in danger and I need to go back to be with my friends." And at that time, we finally see who was asking Kafka the question. It turns out to be that mysterious soldier that appeared several chapters back when Kafka was training. And the samurai says, "Well, if that's the case, then follow me and you will be able to connect your strength with ours." And the chapter ends at that point with the question, what did the samurai mean? Although we got some idea of what he probably means, we're going to see some sort of fusion sort of situation of Kafka with these spirits. And I do say spirits with a S as a plural because the samurai said your connection with us rather than your connection with me. And so there seems to be this past history that we already seen a little bit of. And there seems to be this spirit of fallen soldiers of the past associated with Kafka. And whether that came from that small monster or was inherent in Kafka right from the beginning because he may potentially be a blood connection to one of these warriors, we're not sure. But whatever the case, it seems to be that with the support of these other spirits, Kafka is going to be able to come back into the battlefield. And so we're probably going to see Hoshina and Narumi barely hanging on to battle the boss monster, and it'll be at some point that Kafka will come in clutch. And with the three of them, maybe they will be able to take care of the boss monster. We're not sure, and it will be additional chapters before we find out. And once they start coming out, I'll bring out other videos. And I hope you join me at that time. But this is the chapter 116 discussion of Kaiju 8号 or Kaiju number 8. If you read it, what you think about it? How do you think this battle will continue? And until the next episode, happy manga reading, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.